going to VAR. They're checking.
Hey, guys.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yo. Hey, we're back again with another episode of the VARBAR. We may have a break from club football, but I know you lot don't like international too tough, but we've got a special today of referees while still touching base on internationals. Smaller crowd today. I got my boy Drew.
Yes, sir.
Got my big boy Big Cha.
Come on.
Crofty's in the building.
What's good?
And the best beer in the land, Weisenberg.
What's good, boys?
Hey, so, it's been an interesting week. England are playing. Andy's team are playing, which is the Netherlands. Bit shaky for you lot, Andy. What's going on over there?
Bro, that team is awful, man. Like, I don't know, like, when I'm looking at our team, I'm just looking at this team and I'm looking at these players and thinking, who's the star boy here? You get me? Obviously, we have Memphis. We've got Frankie de Jong, De Ligt, but none of them are really,
stepping up to the plate, I guess.
I don't even know how to explain it, man. I'm really comparing our team with like the likes of England, France, and they have just like, especially France, have like quality and abundance. But even like Italy, for example. But yeah, I think also the manager's also out of his depth, man, a little bit.
So
Wasn't he the manager that Jose called the worst manager in the Premier League history?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is the question. What Charles just said there, is it the manager or is it the players? Because you just listed some potential world-class players there.
The thing is, these sets of players were the exact same that played under Koeman. And under Koeman, when Koeman was the manager, we kind of had our revival where we beat France, Germany. We made the Nation League final, but lost to Portugal. So under Koeman, the Netherlands was good again. So there was hope. You get me. But obviously, he left us for Barcelona, and then the ball kit stepped in, and then he simply can't get the best of these players. Can't get the right formation. It's also been said that the players, when Koeman was the manager, they were kind of shook of him because he kind of rules with an iron fist. But the ball is a bit more relaxed. They're not really shook of him. They're not really, listening to him like that. So
Koeman did look angry every time I looked at him, man. He doesn't look like a happy guy.
Yeah, for sure, man. But we definitely played much better under him, much more structured, hard to beat. But obviously Van Dijk was there as well at that time. But yeah,
let's give a quick shout out to our Turkish listeners because
boy.
They surprisingly come in as the potential underdogs.
Your man's my guy.
But, bro, they beat Norway as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat Norway.
Yeah, man.
They're good.
They're good, man.
Players. They're good players. I watched the game.
I see them as a potential underdog for the. Are they in the Euros? I'm pretty sure they qualify for the Euros. Shalom, would you agree? Turkey?
Oh yeah, they're slowly getting there. It's a good revival. Let's wait and see.
I don't think so, man.
Let's wait and see. They put on some good numbers, some good games. So let's wait and see.
They've got Premier League players, like good quality players, actually.
Sionchu and them. Yeah. So yeah, Burak as well. Where's he now? Burak.
Leo.
Leo.
Yeah, he's doing a madness. So,
But Turkey had a number. They have our number though in regards to Holland. For years, man. They've been beating us for years, man. Yeah. So
just checked. Turkey's group is Group A with Italy, Switzerland, and Wales. So it's a good mixture.
Yeah.
Of teams.
Wait. So Turkey, Italy, Switzerland. Oh, that's an interesting group, man.
That's a tough
They're
one.
very all equally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Totally agree with you there, Char. I think Italy are coming up, but I think in terms of quality, these guys I reckon they're all on the same pace. So. Yeah. Group A is going to be a good group to watch. You would have thought Turkey would be the team that everyone's going to be getting points off, but what we've seen in the last two games of Turkey is looking very healthy.
Nah, it has to be Wales, man.
I think Wales are the weaker underdogs in that group.
So we say Wales and Italy?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think top two will be between Switzerland, Turkey, and Italy.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Jake, obviously, England had their annual fixture with San Marino. We've got to look into that one still because Man City get their easy draws. But how many times have England played San Marino, man?
I was reading up on this because I think we're all tired now, aren't we? Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to drub them 5-0, but when Mason Mount is creating like 8 chances in 45 minutes, the most I think in a Euro qualifier since Xavi did 9 against Bosnia, it's like, what's the point? And Africa and Asia both have like playoff tournaments before you even get to the qualifying groups to weed out teams like this, because there is no point in it. Like San Marino, they get like their players could say like, oh yeah, we got to play at Wembley and got shafted. That's the only thing they get out of it. And what do we get out of it? A run out? Like it's almost a preseason friendly. And there was an analyst, I think they're called like the 46th club, the 46th minute club, something like that. And they compared San Marino's team, like using all these metrics to find out what their most likely comparisons are. It was a National League North team.
Wow.
So they're not even non-league. They're the second tier of non-league football.
As in, if we're good enough, we can play for San Marino.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Pretty much. Like I live in a town called Corby. That's their level. Like it's disgusting. It really is. There is no point to it whatsoever. Someone needs to do something, because we all complain about players having to play all these games. Like it's an international break, and yet these players are having to fit in 3 games in this week.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, and it just, it's not required whatsoever. Like they can go fan about, play themselves, whilst the bigger teams play the games that they need to, because there's no point in us playing San Marino, Liechtenstein. I mean, I know Luxembourg beat the Republic of Ireland, but it's once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
And
to add to your point as well, Gary Lineker actually tweeted something about suggesting the idea of having actual what's the word? I've lost the word.
Qualifier before qualifiers, basically.
Yeah, something along that line. So where teams will play is like what Jake said, around their level, because there is no way you're gonna San Marino like 200 or something playing England, who are in the top 10.
Yeah. That's what they do with the Nations League, isn't it? Where everyone at their levels is in the same group. Yeah.
Well, our good friend Arsene Wenger, he's suggested like getting rid of some of these tournaments because he just thinks it's unnecessary. So
yeah, facts.
It'd be interesting to see.
I would like to see that, but they're just never going to do it, because they're never going to get rid of a tournament because it's just more money. I don't see that happening. But yeah, there should definitely be some form of playoff system, qualifiers before qualifiers, to weed them out.
I think the reason why it's like this, because obviously Europe has the most allocations for World Cup. So I think to do like a qualifier before qualifier, for one, would be
Extra games?
would be extra games for one, and two, obviously you give these San Marino, Gibraltar, what other countries like Montenegro, they can ball actually, but Gibraltar, San Marino, you give them the experience in it.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna tell them you can't play against England. They're loving it.
It's a day out. It's a trip out.
It's a trip out for them. You get
me? A political thing.
I mean, it reminds me of like what's in Redknapp's rant on Sky when he was talking about England going through the qualifier, beating these teams, and then going to the tournament and just flopping.
Yeah.
So it's. I think I agree with Jake. I think there has to be a system where you kind of sharpen yourself against other equal teams in order to prepare yourself.
But that's the whole point of qualifiers, though. Like you have to have good teams in your group and shit teams. Is the luck of the draw, really. You as a country, or as a you have to be prepared when you get into the real tournament that you're facing real people. Yeah. So I don't think that's an excuse, man, because every other team has that. Every other big team has that as well. Who's in England's group, by the way? Like
in the actual Euros.
Yeah. Now the World Cup qualifiers.
Oh man, I don't even know who's in their group. I know they've got
Albania are there as well.
Switzerland, I think Poland.
No, I think Poland are friendly.
Oh, is Poland a friendly?
I'm not sure, because I know the Nations League was supposed to get rid of the friendlies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest,
so Andorra, Hungary, Albania, Poland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, what is that, man?
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
that's nonsense.
They're just skating through that particular group. Yeah.
And
England are playing in Albania today, aren't they?
Oh no. Yeah, Poland are in there. So it's charted Albania, Poland, Hungary, Andorra, and San Marino.
That's the thing. It's like if you take England out of that, can you name 3 players that play for those countries collectively, like Lua.
That's it.
Hey, Chesney, don't forget my boy Chesney.
I mean, Hungary. You have what's his name, Soboslai, no?
Yeah, but they go like it's just
That is actually mad when you look at that, man. Like, what are they going to get out of that? Then you'll be hearing all these records being broken for what reason? And like what Jake and Shalom, you guys have just co-signed. When it comes to the big stage and they're playing the bigger teams, not saying England will flop, but that's when things become more difficult for them. So,
but what? Okay, hold on. Before you move on, so Jake and Shalom, are you suggesting that teams should be in harder groups in the qualifying stages?
No.
Prevent to weed out the lower teams. So teams like San Marino, Andorra, Liechtenstein, they can all play each other. So say like how when you've got not UEFA Cup.
But do you really want to see them teams in the World Cup?
No.
If they're all in one group.
Each other to have the opportunity to play us to qualify. So if you look at the African World Cup qualifiers and the Asian, all the really little teams play each other. Then they do the World Cup qualifier groups to knock out a couple of them. Yeah, because like I say, like they're just making up the numbers right now, and they're just picking up our goal difference.
Yeah,
like Arsenal, the champs.
We're leaving club out this one, bro.
International week.
As we all know, these guys are playing to qualify for Qatar 2022. We just want to touch on a very sensitive issue that's going on. When you see players from nowhere, which other country was it? Germany also did it.
Norway, Holland.
Yeah,
Holland are protesting about the humanity rights for the workers in Qatar that have died whilst building this stadium. The inhumane living that apparently they're receiving over there. What do you guys think about this, man? Because I'm glad to see the footballers are actually using the platform to actually express this, because we don't hear about it in the news.
Yeah, I think that this I've kind of heard a lot about it. I think this should be way bigger than it is, man. I wouldn't be mad if like let me not say that. Let me not say mad. I'll be very surprised, but at the same time, I would welcome it if they boycotted this World Cup.
I was about to say,
the numbers are crazy. 6,500 migrant workers have died since the bro.
What? 6,000?
Yeah.
6.5, bro. Like, it's nuts.
I mean, for me, I think it all goes back to the bigger question, like how the hell did Qatar win their bid for the World Cup?
Well, we know, man.
You've got to ask that question.
It's a great point, because I was reading into it. So I think it was 20 voting members, or like 20 members of the executive committee at the time for FIFA when Qatar and Russia got voted in. Only one of them works for FIFA now. The rest of them have all been brought about corruption charges, bribery charges, before they were going to get caught, etc. You think of, was it Jack Warner, who was the Trinidad and Tobago guy? Obviously, Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter as well. Platini.
Like I said, they did it for the money.
It's nuts, man.
I mean, because you would ask
Go on, Shalom.
Yeah, so you would ask yourself, like, there has to be some criteria, like every country or the country putting their bid have to, abide by. And one of those criteria is that you should have, systems that would stop from human, like, taking advantage of people, what's going on currently in Qatar. But clearly that isn't the case. So I think really and truly, people shouldn't really be mad at Qatar, because they made the bid and it got accepted. Obviously there was some dodgy things.
Of course we have to be mad at
FIFA.
We have to be mad at FIFA for sure. Obviously this is not the first World Cup where there's controversy. Obviously Russia, there was controversy. Brazil as well, I remember, where the favelas were brought down and they just built new things on there. But I think with the Qatar one, it's even extra. It's because like just the way they're glamorizing it. Like the stadiums are like of the highest of high quality. There's hotels within the stadiums, people can sleep, things like that's air conditioned, because it's going to be hot in it, so there's air conditioned stadium. All these things that are enticing fans, enticing these players as well. But how were they made? You get me? This was wrong with me. And I think even as players, I don't know if you guys agree, players should just boycott this, man. But a lot of players are and unions, not unions, the the FA, sorry,
Yeah.
then they don't want to boycott it, which I
think
understand.
it's also going to be a bigger change in terms of when it's going to be played. Isn't it going to play around like December, November, December time?
Winter, the first winter
Yeah.
World Cup,
Yeah,
November, December time. Yeah.
yeah, boy.
Has there ever been a World Cup played?
No.
That's what.
Oh,
No.
It just
That's
doesn't
annoying.
add up, man. It's not adding up. Like, this is the issue because you.
That's actually the first thing that didn't make. Sorry, man. That's the first thing that didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
To me.
Doing it in Qatar when the weather is nuts over there. Anyways, continue.
But like those countries, for example, like England, that really have the structure to host a World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've made the point that they've glamorized it. It's great to have all these nice stadiums. That's not what we're here for. We're not here for the stadiums. We're here for the football.
Mm-hmm.
And man, they need to do something about it. But do you think they'll actually boycott it? I know Andy said the FA.
They're not gonna do that.
because FIFA would have to probably give back any money they receive from Qatar, and I'm guessing FIFA they're not that rich to do that, so it's not.
You
happening.
don't want to at the end of the day, they're not going to take the opportunity to win a World Cup off themselves.
Exactly, but where do you stand as a person then? Where do you stand? So you're playing in stadiums where there's basically blood on your feet. Where do we stand, bro? Come on, man. These t-shirt initiatives, it's nothing, man.
It's nothing, but it's a start because, you've just made me aware of the death numbers. I didn't know that, and it's not been reported in the news. And we're watching.
A lot of people.
It has been. The thing is, it has been reported, Munya. It has been reported in the newspapers.
But I think what Munya's saying is that not a lot of people were made aware about it until this happened. I've looked into a lot more since I've seen obviously what's happening recently. To be honest, so it's a start. But obviously, I agree with you, Drew. Something needs to be done. If the federations have anything about them, then they will listen to players' concerns. So I know for a fact players are going to be sort of going into their federation saying, "I don't want to play."
Bro, I don't even think. I think a small minority of players, but it's a World Cup, innit? They're not gonna come out and risk not playing at a World Cup, which I understand. I get that point of view, but again, like I said, man, where do you stand, bro?
Yep.
It's interesting because I saw that Harry Kane said he's gonna have a conversation with Southgate about showing what the likes of Holland and others have been doing. I don't think you need to have a conversation. You just need to do it because we just need to raise awareness, let everyone know, because everyone's gonna be watching it. Everyone's gonna be watching the game. We need to shout this out because, man, it's actually, Andy, what you've told me, I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I thought the numbers were in the hundreds or something, not even that.
And what's even more shocking is a vast majority of them are African immigrants as well, that they just plucked from Africa.
Of course,
a lot of them.
It's not shocking, is it? It's typical.
I mean, it's normal level in those countries, but it's crazy.
Worst for me is that because that general area where you think of Qatar, you think of Dubai, they do these big sporting things as almost like a branding exercise because it doesn't matter to their economy, it doesn't matter to their way of life. They're literally doing it to show the Western world, give us your money.
It's literally
doing this to be like, oh, come on over, guys, you can come live here, blah blah blah. We're great people. When you say there's blood on their feet, they will be sat there in their air conditioned, lovely VIP boxes, watching this great football, knowing that they've killed people for that pleasure.
You know what, man? I wasn't going to lead into this topic, but it's a little bit of a double standards because how do you reckon the Western things were built anyways? Just to put it out there. But anyways, it's just a bit of a double standard.
That's where we go.
I know. I'm just. It just occurred to me.
Brandy in that out.
It just occurred to me, but yeah.
All right, so let's get straight into the main topic of the day. So, guys, we wanted to just touch on the referees, because they're an important part to the game. We all have our personal views. And obviously, there's been the biggest change in football, which is the inclusion of VAR. Obviously, there to help the referees. But, it's gone two ways. Some people are still for VAR, like myself. And there are some people that are against it. But we're just going to touch on, just a general overview. And I think I'm just looking at my time, and it's Fergie time. So Big Char, I want to come straight to you, bro.
You do.
So in the Premier League, obviously, there's been so many statements made by referees. As a United fan, one of the biggest things that was known throughout the Premier League years was Fergie time. For it to have a name, obviously, there had to be some sort of truth to it. as a United fan, how do you relate to Fergie Time?
All right. Firstly, obviously, I want to
It comes with disclaimers.
People I want to just make sure people like Drew and that are not getting PTSD shocks right now. This kind of conversation, because I know.
Charles, before you go on, can you explain what Fergie Time is for?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe our younger listeners.
There was a concept basically where fans and sets of fans, especially, but it actually filtered into the clubs. Basically, felt that we being United during the Alex Ferguson era, basically. Would potentially get sort of favourable minutes added onto the clock, basically, or there'll be times throughout the game where sort of the Fergie impression basically lasted within the game, and obviously that swayed things off in our way apparently, which is totally rubbish. But yeah, that's basically the definition, unless other people have other definitions.
No, I'm happy with that. So, and to what extent do you agree with those definitions?
He said it's rubbish.
He said it's rubbish.
I agree to the extent that there was definitely a thing in regards to Alex Ferguson having I wouldn't call it control, but he had an influence on referees, especially at Old Trafford. It was always glaring at Old Trafford. Like there'll be times I think people remember I think the one that sticks out to me was the Spurs, the United Spurs game when I think Pedro Mendes lapped it from like 40, 50 yards, and I think Carroll basically plucked it out of the net. Like it was the clearest thing as day. I think any United fan that would ever try to tell you that they thought that it wasn't a goal is lying. And I think that was like a crucial point within sort of a title charge as well. So yeah, it was that's the one that sticks out to me. That was just pure. We can't let Alex Ferguson lose.
Where did that come from? You think is it?
It was winning. It was winning. Do you know, when you're that guy, yeah, and then people like you're that guy, and then everyone almost is in awe of you. Like I think that people actually were like, you hear stories that like there was a point where United would be in a tunnel, and then people just look over and basically think they've lost already. It was that feeling, that sense in it. Basically, when they come to Old Trafford, obviously there was teams that came and beat us there. Like we weren't invincible there, but there was a period in time. Yeah, I can agree. Like back to Munir's question, that it was favourable to United, but I don't think the whole referee concept about us being added minutes, it's nonsense. Because if you see it like away from Alex Ferguson, it's happening to big teams now. I think it just happened when a team is very good. And other clubs are hating basically and feel the need to look at reasons as to why they're winning, because they can't accept that they're just good.
Just reading a quote here from Andrew saying United wouldn't have won about half of their 13 trophies had it not been for Fergie Time.
I hear that.
Now, joking. Obviously, that's not a real quote. But Andy, I want to go to you because you've had your strong words about United and their 13 titles and maybe how they so much got away with it. Did you reckon Fergie Time contributed to some of the
Listen, man. If the one of the biggest after Howard Webb, Clattenburg was the biggest referee in the UK, right? And he fled to Saudi Arabia for whatever reason. He does an interview and he says like Fergie's influence was real, and sometimes because of him we refed in United's favor. If he comes out and says this, what do you want me to think? Honestly,
context, bro.
What do you mean context? There's no context, bro.
There's no context.
There's no context. He was being clear, and that's what's pissing me off. Even let me tell you.
Whose fault was that? Is that the referee's fault? Or is that our fault?
No, but it was also well known that Alex Ferguson would dine with these referees, bro. That's also out there. That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. So. Come on, maybe money under the table, all them things.
It's one of just
do that.
It's one of just unspoken things. Like it's one of just topics that's never been discussed or decided or dealt with in the Premier League for this whole year.
That's white privilege, man. But let me go to Arsenal though, because obviously when Arsenal were moving mad with the invincible.
Oh, don't get me started, please.
That particular game, I'm not even
Mike Riley, Mike freaking Riley. Don't get me started.
Arsenal fan. Like, Charles, how do you explain that game? Do you think you man won that game fair and square?
Nah. That game was. I don't know how we did. Yeah, but it was 2-0, wasn't it?
It was 2-0.
It was the stupidest game. I just remember it was Arsenal wearing blue, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just remember they were just.
I'll break it down. We had 10 fouls that he didn't give.
Yeah.
One penalty that Rooney clearly dived. He gave.
He gave.
What?
Rooney should have been sent off as well.
Sent off as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it. That's when that's when the argument went from Fergie time. I used to argue with it like every day, like at school. I used to just say, "Nah, you just can't basically handle the fact that we're good." That day, I remember thinking to myself, "Yeah, nah, we've just got away with this here because like there was no way we should have beat the Arsenal team then, and then obviously end their invincibles." So yeah, I agree with you guys in that regards, but I still don't think it was to the extent that a lot of people think it was.
So I'm glad we don't have Tosin on as well, because if you've heard in our previous pods, he's referenced that game multiple times. Shalom, I know you also have some strong views on that game as well. But you know, the Fergie time. Why do you think it was Fergie? Why couldn't the likes of Wenger have the same influence?
That's a very good question. For me, I have my theory about it. I put across to you guys in the group chat because I did a little bit of research and I've noticed a lot of top Premier League ref were all born in the north. So I think there is a kind of a bias there to them growing up, obviously with the in United.
They're low-key fans.
Yeah, I think they're low-key fans, and I think they obviously low-key support United and as such support Fergie, who has been like the most successful manager in United's history. So it makes sense. So that's my theory on that one. On the other hand, when you go into United at that time and their kind of their high era when they were doing well, similar to like Liverpool on field, you're going to be hard pressed to give a decision and stand by it. So you are going to try to kind of appease the United fan by you know
what? That second point that you made, that happens at every big club's home ground. Yeah. That one I can, that's fair and square. Where referees are afraid to whistle in front of the home crowd. That's fair.
I mean, there's some people like I'm not sure about like Stamford Bridge. I don't think they care that much. Like to a point, like Emirates, like possibly hybrid differently. But when you go to Old Trafford, you're in center stage. So you're in your head, you're thinking, okay, I need to appease everyone and possibly add more time to it. So, I will leave this particular stadium without getting my head chopped off. So I think those are the 2 points I think that went to us.
I think those are the worst type of refs, man.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate those referees.
I mean, that's why
it still happens today, man.
I mean, that's why really and truly, I know we're going to mention him and later on, but you have to give it up for Mike Riley not Mike Riley. What's his name? Mike Dean, because he does not care. He just does not care.
Yeah, and you have to give it up on him. Yeah, we will touch on him.
But an interesting point you made there, Shalom, about where the referees will come from. So I'm just going to quickly do a quick roundup of some of the key referees in the Premier League. So Martin Atkinson, he was born in Bradford. Obviously, we say these names. I'm sure we should all reference them.
I like him, man. I like Martin.
He was born in Bradford and he supports Leeds, which is interesting. Michael Oliver, born in Ashington, again, somewhere up north. Ken probably knows it. Mm-hmm. He's actually a Newcastle fan.
For real?
Yeah.
Has he ever ref the Newcastle game?
You're not allowed.
No, you're not allowed.
That club, you can't. So I think, for instance, Mike Riley's a Tranmere fan, which is right next to Liverpool. So I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to referee Liverpool games because of that scrutiny.
Well, Mike Dean.
Oh, is it Mike Dean? So I can't.
Yeah.
They're a Tranmere fan, so they can't referee Liverpool games because of that, because they're right next door to him.
I wonder if we looked at it. Has he actually left the Liverpool game though? I wonder.
I'm sure he has, man. He has, for sure.
But it's just always like that increased scrutiny. Like they try not to.
Yeah.
Literally, if he gives a decision against Liverpool that's ever so slightly controversial, that's the first thing that's going to come up.
One of the biggest criminals in the game, John Moss, born in Sunderland, also a Sunderland fan.
Can we stay on John Moss for a minute? Do referees have to pass some sort of fitness test or?
I don't want to be.
Great point there, Andy. Something I was going to go into. So, if you guys may have caught it on Sky Sports, it's a shame they've not done a repeat. I believe it was Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. They actually spent the day with the referees in the training session they do prior to the league. So they showed us the fitness levels they have to do, the training they have to do, and they have to actually pass a certain mark to be Premier League, fit to be a Premier League ref.
Yeah.
So this quick documentary was showing them doing their pre-test, obviously talking about the experiences. So you look at the likes of John Marsh and his belly, but somehow man sprints, man can turn burners.
Just water weight.
Fam, bro, the amount of times managers have added John Moss, saying he's not fit, he didn't even see it, blah blah blah. You know, when it's like when it's like a counter attack, man is still on the other side. You know, just
Andy, I was just thinking about it. Imagine him, he's refereeing a Liverpool game when you man had Suarez, Sterling. Man would be sweating before the game.
Don't give me Jonathan Moss, man. Please.
But that's a good point you make there, and we'll go in later into it because there is a discussion on the standard of Premier League refs. I'm going to go to Andre Marriner, one of your favourites, Andy.
Yeah, I like
it. Actually from Birmingham, and he's a Villa fan.
Marriner, he was the one, wasn't he, that got Oxlade and Gibbs mixed
up.
My God. Yeah.
I remember.
But you know what I like about Andre Marriner, yeah? He's fair, man. He's one of the most fairest referees in the game, man. And also with the VAR thing, yeah, he doesn't get swayed by VAR either, which sometimes you have to kind of like look at the screen or whatever, but he's someone that usually goes with his first instinct. If you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I like him. He's one of the.
That's when you kind of see experience. I feel like the likes of Martin Atkinson, he seems like an experienced referee.
Yeah, he is. He is top class.
Yeah,
he's very experienced. Whereas I think we may say something. I think Andy, you disagree with this. I personally feel Michael Oliver is probably the best out of the bunch at the moment.
Yeah, he's the most
rated. That's backed up by the fact that he actually was the only ref to ref currently in these World Cup qualifiers for England.
Is he the only one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not him and what's his name? The other Donny. Oh no. Anthony Taylor. Sorry.
I was about to go to Anthony Taylor next. I'm not saying Anthony Taylor in any, but I remember Mark Oliver ref the game the other day.
Yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, I used to really like Michael Oliver, man, until recently, man. He's been making shocking decisions. So
with Mike Oliver, it either goes kind of, okay, he's really good, or it's just, okay, what's going on here, Michael? But one thing I do like about him is his confidence and how he deals with players. That's one thing I like. And I think we'll touch on this, but I think referees have like a complex of trying to be the most important person on the pitch rather than just being, just an umpire referee. Let the game flow. And I think I like how Mike Oliver deals with things sometimes.
One game that springs to mind, about Michael Oliver was the, I think, Juve Real Madrid game when Ronaldo scored a last minute penalty. Do you guys remember that? The Juve defenders,
Juve they won 3-0.
Yeah. Was that Santiago, wasn't it?
I remember the game.
I remember where, man. But it was vital because that goal made Real Madrid go through.
Yeah.
They were vexed, man, because that was also a controversial decision where it wasn't really a penalty. He still gave it. They said because of Ronaldo, yeah, so he's kind of under scrutiny there.
It's always interesting as well to see them in another country, refereeing another game. Like, perfect example there, Andy, the Juve Madrid game, because obviously they're just English referees, but how they act outside their normal comfort zone. Yeah. I feel like they've got less pressure. I feel like they enjoy their game more.
Yeah.
I think the next person there you mentioned was Anthony Taylor. He's born in Manchester, supports a local club called Altrincham. So I think that's an area near Manchester. Jake mentioned him earlier. Mike Dean, born in Wirral, and he's a Tranmere Rovers fan. I think we all saw that clip of him. He was at a Tranmere game.
In the stands.
He was in there. Craig Pawson, an on-and-off referee, I believe. I feel, anyways.
A young boy as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's average, man. But yeah, go on.
Sheffield United born. Well, supports Sheffield United, I should say, as well. Now, Kevin Friend. Do you guys know who this one is?
Kevin Friend. Oh, yeah.
So he was actually born in London. So Shalom, your theory of all them being Northern, he says here he supports Bristol City and Leicester. So We have to speak to him to understand how that's
from London, and he supports Bristol City and Leicester. Why is he allowed on a football pitch?
That just doesn't. We have.
At least support Leighton Orient or someone, man, in London.
He's based in Leicester,
Bro,
but I'm guessing.
Do you know what I think personally? I think these guys put down a team that isn't in the because think about it, these guys, they have to go through levels, don't they? They're trying to get to the top games like everyone in terms of footballers. So you think they support these big teams, bro? But I feel like they just say that they support these local teams so they can actually manage and obviously play and obviously referee. Sorry.
Yeah, so like a conflict of interest thing.
Yeah, of course, 100%. What you think? Bristol and Leicester, like what? And you come from London, and then nah, man. I don't believe in the facade.
So Munya, just out of curiosity, one out of the many referees you've just mentioned was born in London. Just to be clear.
I'm just checking the last ones here because we've got another big shit referee, Lee Mason. He's from Bolton.
Yes. Yeah,
terrible.
He's from Bolton.
He was the one that Nuno cussed out in a while ago, wasn't he? Just saying he's literally not fit for purpose.
And Chris Kavanagh is a new upcoming referee. He's from Manchester. Teams unknown, but yeah. So
don't forget Sean Macy, by the way. You know,
well, she's a lino.
He's a lino.
We were just going to do the actual referees in the game, but we will go into.
There's no ball, man. What the hell?
You didn't realize she's a ref in it. Like you can't. You're not just a lino, innit?
But that's a French ref, though.
I was gonna go into that. You're correct. We'll come because if you guys watch some of the championship games and League One, some of these linesmen and lineswomen, they actually ref lower league games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's how they start. I think before you get
on their stripes.
Yeah, you have to go to the championship and earn your stripes, and
So, to answer your question there, Shalom, so it's just Kevin Friend that's from London. So
there you go.
It's interesting to see that it seems as if there is a lot of northern presence, of course.
They love it, man.
Is that biased? I'm just putting the question out there. You know what I mean?
Never be able to prove, but you'd always be wary of.
I feel it goes into how are they selected? Because one thing I want to go into next is how I read somewhere there is a shortage of Premier League level referees, that the upcoming referees are apparently not at that standard yet. So where are we finding the referees? So Shalom, you could say it's biased, but maybe there's just no good referees in the South.
Who wants to be a referee though? Like, I'm sure everyone's gone to like non-league football and like Sunday league and stuff like that. And referees,
it's always the nerds, man.
They get abused, bro. Like, they get actually abused.
Yeah, they do.
Across the world. So it's almost like it's almost like remember back in the day, you'd never want to be a keeper. Yeah, it's one step further in it. You'd never want to be a referee. Like
I mean, they do say. Sorry, did you say referees are the guys who never made it football? We were never good at football.
That's what they say. Like even like your friends, I've got friends.
I know Money is crashing his teeth, but yeah, go ahead.
No, man, you might put respect. These men have a lot of pressure, man. Don't get onto them. They get abused, man. They don't call for it. Like, especially before we had VAR, they would make a call with their flag, and obviously sometimes they'll get it wrong, and you got fans behind you effing and blinding you, and you're thinking, fam, I just want to get out of it.
I can't lie, I will lose my rag if a player's like effing that. I'm swinging, I can't lie. So fair enough.
Fam, you just give them the yellow and red card, bro.
There was that ref, wasn't there? That was
mad
one recently. It was like an Ipswich Northampton game, and I think one of the Ipswich players just went up to him the 90th minute, and he'd been giving him shit all game. And then the ref just absolutely snapped and headbutted him.
Yeah.
Because
I saw that.
You know what? I am surprised it doesn't.
There was one in the French league as well.
Yeah.
Where a ref two-foot someone.
The one that Jake, you're referencing, I honestly feel there was nothing wrong with that. That referee was actually put through disciplinary, but he did nothing. Like you can't be giving the refs get so much. The players need to actually respect them. I think there's been a lack of, and they always say this with football, there's a lack of respect for referees compared to the rugby. And Andy, as well, you're mentioning that that incident in the French league where I think what happened in that one, the player kind of accidentally tripped the referee, and then the ref thought he did it on purpose, and then this ref, that is stupidity.
That was funny.
That is stupidity. But Jake, sticking with you actually. With all this, I think you mentioned as well, Lee Mason was cornered by Nuno. Your former manager, Jose, famously said, if I speak, I'll be in big, big trouble. Obviously, referencing a refereeing decision. Do you feel that referees should also now do interviews themselves?
No, I've said this on the pod before, and I don't think that gives us anything. I would much rather prefer, because we spoke about having refs mic'd up, but I think people have made the valid point that you couldn't show that before the watershed. You could, because they would be effing and blinding unless you change the rules to say have only the captain come up or the players involved. But I think the referees, for me, VAR needs to be mic'd up. If they says, oh yeah, Lee, can you go check out the booth for a second? It needs to be mic'd up from that point, because everyone hates VAR because they are getting these wrong decisions. And there's just no communication. There's no logic or reasoning behind it. So us as fans automatically assume the worst of you can't do your job because we can't see the process behind these decisions. At least if I'm seeing Mike Riley go up to the booth and you're hearing Michael Oliver communicate to him saying, right, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the same thing? What's your interpretation of it? At least as a fan, I know this from a rugby perspective, I can go, I still disagree with the decision, but at least I can see your logic behind it. And it's a lot more understanding. Whereas I think if we give them the press conference afterwards, it's just going to be sensationalized. It's just going to be... it wouldn't really hold them accountable in the correct way, because as much as you see footballers and managers have these emotional viewpoints, like you see Klopp complaining afterwards, you see Jose complaining afterwards, you see Ole making these excuses, you see Frank Lampard when he was a manager just not saying the right things. No, but it is right. You're going to have a referee and going, oh, why did you do that? It's like, oh, I thought I made the right call. This is what I saw. You're asking them to remember all these decisions, because I think, what was it? They make something within a game, they make some 500 decisions. I don't know if that's the right figure, but it was so many little decisions throughout the whole game. They're not going to remember all these details. They're just going to trip up over themselves and make it worse. So I think for me,
no. Let me say the only way a referee should be called upon to do an interview if there's something controversial happen. So, for example, in that Brighton v, I forgot who they played. Brighton v someone. Where I don't know if you guys remember, Lee Mason was the referee, and Brighton scored a free kick.
Yeah.
And it was pulled back. I think it was against Wolves or something.
West Brom,
West Brom. I think in situations like that, the referees, they should be questioned. Not just in any old regular game when nothing really controversial has happened. Then no, we shouldn't. But if something controversial happened and the public demands an explanation, then they should be put in front of the mic.
The only issue with that, Andrew, though, is that every club is always going to think something is been done harder done to them, and it's controversial in their own respect.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It will always mean more to the bigger teams in that sense. Because
I think equally, we should be, or I would say, players and managers should be allowed to speak about their feelings towards refs without having the FA coming and giving them a ban or
putting the game in
I don't understand that. I feel
maybe give refs the opportunity to respond to any criticism that comes their way.
Yeah.
What's funny as well, actually, Jake, you mentioned about the mic up. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a game, I think the first year we had VAR, maybe, where I think it was at West Ham as well. Accidentally, they had linked the ref's mic to the stadium, so everyone could actually hear what they were saying. And I think that actually worked out better, but when they don't hear what they're saying. So I agree that they should have a mic up when there's a VR decision, but I also feel like we need them to come and explain some of the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that point of view. It's coming from a good place, because at the end of the day, all we want is better refereeing, and that's the two things you want. You want that communication, because more communication doesn't hurt. There's never been a situation that I can think of where talking makes it worse, and being open and honest and transparent. Because that's another thing, is when you have, say, how a referee's decided to referee certain games, right? There's no transparency over that. All you get is you're going to be doing this one, you're going to be doing this one. It's very secretive. Whereas if we, as the public, were able to see, again, the logic behind all the decision making, it holds them to account, but it also gives us an insight as to why. So it gives us a sense of, we can sympathize with it. We can actually just not go and have emotional not erratic responses, but it's a case of you have to judge what's in front of you. And we're given such
exactly. And if you hear it from the horse's mouth, and then you'll be like, okay, I see where you're coming from. But if a referee does one mad thing and he goes away, and then a manager who loses his head says something about it, then he gets a fine about it, and then the referee gets away scot-free. The only thing that may happen is he'll be demoted to the championship or something for that weekend, and that's it.
Or you be like a Jose and wait for him in the parking lot.
Yeah, man, they're criminals, especially in the Premier League, man.
So another thing, you say in the Premier League, Andy, is also the lack of diversity. I think, am I wrong?
Yeah.
As Char mentioned as well, one Sian Massey Ellis, she's the one only female associated in the Premier League she's a Lions woman, and the obvious one, no referee of like another ethnic backgrounds. Again, this maybe goes back to what I was saying to Shalom. They're not good enough referees coming in, or there's just not opportunities. We see it with the managers situation.
I think
the question. Yeah, go on, Jake. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think it's a fear thing, because obviously, like, I'm a white man. Like, white privilege does exist. Okay, like that is an absolute fact. Imagine a referee, like a black referee, on social media if he messes up a decision. My God. Like, we all know how bad it is for black football players, both male and female. Like, I just, like, and Sian Massey Ellis, obviously, she was the centre of the controversy between Richard Keys and Andy Gray, saying she couldn't do her job. I bet that's put off a generation of referees just from that outdated attitude. But now, like, you see all this abuse that comes through for the players because they mess up. Referees get that every game, no matter what, from either set of fans, like, oh, how did you call this guy offside? Why did you not call foul there, etc., etc., etc. And that would just be so much more amplified for a black referee, for an Asian referee. And I can see why they wouldn't be keen to sign up, like, let alone just a normal white person. They get enough abuse as it is. Yeah. But then to top that on top, that would come into it 100%.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think it's more of the FA not protecting. Because if you're a kid who's looking to be, or anyone who's looking to be a ref, you're thinking, okay, even if I get into shit, so if I get abused by fans or by by people, I'll get protection from the FA, and you're looking around and thinking, okay, the current caliber of people refereeing in the Prem do not look like me. So how am I going to get protected in the event I make that step to become a ref? So I think the FA has to, protect the football players and refs as well. So I think it also goes back to the FA.
I want to even go a bit deeper than that. Obviously, I won't sort of ramble on too much here, but yeah, I think it just goes. There's this sort of untold or unwritten thing about the concept of obviously black people within sport. And I think it goes both ways. I think it's almost like you know how there's obviously the lack of black coaches basically in the Premier League. That's because black people are almost seen as not wise enough to hold these positions within sport, obviously in this case football. I think it filters through to even things like referees. Like, think about how coaches get.
There was one black referee back in the day.
Yeah, but one in how long? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like it's so disproportionate. And I just think it all goes back into how how like black players are deemed as power and pace, but there's no intelligence there. There's never intelligence that's described as a black footballer. I think it even filters through to people like referees and coaches. I think that's how I see it. I think it's just a case of not necessarily black referees not putting themselves like there, but just probably looking at it from decades ago and thinking they've never made it through anyway. Why would I bother now?
Yeah, I think just to piggyback of your Shalom's point, it's extremely systemic. Yeah. So obviously, like, the majority of football fans is the working class white male. So this is kind of what they want represented across the board in football, right? But of course, in terms of the actual football talent, there's a lot of black players that is needed, quote unquote. But in regards to everything else, it's something that they can control, like the managers and the referees. Let's just filter in these type of the white referees. male referees as well. Yeah, it's all systemic, man. So, I mean, another question you also have to ask is like, are there actually black people that are referees currently, even in like lower leagues? Personally, I've not seen many in the UK and in Holland. So I'm not sure if like this is something, if this is something that's
in our community. Yeah.
No, I think there is, but it is,
like
man.
that.
There's definitely, if you look at grassroots like referees, you see like black Asian refs. I think there are folks who ref who are from diversity. They're from diversity, and also they're female refs. I think the problem we have is what we just touched on. In terms of your path route towards getting a prem, you have a lot of barriers towards getting that to the top, and I don't think most people in those areas, in those sectors, think, okay, this is for me, and that's the problem we have.
There is a female ref though that's kind of like been put in to do these big matches, like VARBAR from France.
Yeah,
she refed the game Holland v Latvia.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I was about to say, yeah, she was in that game as well.
But she's done Jake. She's done remember our European, was it the European Super Cup? I think she done that one as well.
Oh yeah, okay. No, I do vaguely remember that. I've got to be honest, I didn't really like that game. We were awful.
I think she done one of the finals. I think it was that one she did as well. She's good, to be honest. I like her, but obviously in that game yesterday, she got a bit of stick because there was a few decisions where she gave it the wrong way, and then obviously as a woman, they're gonna be like, you know, they're gonna mention her sex instead of like this ref had it wrong. You get me? Yeah. So referees always get it wrong, but you don't have to mention, oh, this female referee did this. You get me?
That's the problem, isn't it?
It's I remember it was on Mother's Day that there was a game on BT Sport, and this isn't ref, this was a pundit, and they brought on a former female footballer. I can't remember her name. It wasn't Karen Carney.
Yeah.
She was fantastic as a pundit. Like, we continue to peddle Glenn Hoddle, Steve McManaman, like even Roy Keane. I think Roy Keane is an awful pundit, but she came on and she knew her stuff. She was really good flow. She brought good opinions. She wasn't just like, oh yeah, well, he obviously wanted it more, which is just one of the most reductive football arguments. I absolutely hate it. Like, but you just like, this is where you've got to bring these opportunities. I think, like Shalom said it, and I completely agree. It's something I should have said. Like, you want to see more representation. You want to show that these people not only can they handle it, but they can exceed expectations of what we currently have. Like,
facts.
We're settling. Like, we are just settling as a fan of football on our referee and on our expert analysis, when we can go so much higher now. It's just easier to settle because it's the status quo. It doesn't require change. You know what to expect. And it's letting ourselves down. The FA is letting us down. The PGMOL, who controls all the referees, they are letting us down because they're not providing enough. Like, we know it in business and in life, diversity brings more and better results. That's been proven for more than a fact. So why they can't do it more?
Jake's spitting, man.
Yeah, you're talking facts right now, Jake. Amen.
Yeah, like if you're not acting as change, you're not actually helping. If you're not an ally and you're not active with it,
you're in the way.
Nothing you can do. Like, yeah.
Right, so before we draw to a close, I know, Shalom, you were keen on getting this done. We're going to do maybe a quick, who are the top 5 Premier League referees and who are the bottom 5 and need to be shown the door. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of comments for Mike Dean, so let's start with him.
Mike Dean? I'll put him in top 5.
Yeah.
I think he's a good ref. I think he's a little bit, he wants to be the star. Kind of thing. Sometimes with a decision and the way he acts, it's always almost a performance with him. But in terms of his refereeing skills and decision making, I think usually he's on the ball, man. I do like it.
What I like about him is like it's bringing on your point of view. He brings that bit of personality.
Yeah,
like he's not a robot. It's the fact that like his actions. Like, don't get me wrong, when they're against you, you're like, can you please do your job? But when it's a neutral when they're for you, it's a case of. He almost looks like he's enjoying his job, which you want to see. Like, he's actually bringing a bit of himself onto the pitch instead of just being like, "Yep, that's a foul."
I don't mind Mike Dean, man. I like him.
Yeah,
very experienced as well, man.
Yeah, I like the fact when he makes a decision, when a ref does that, and players kind of come bombard into him. He's like, nah, go out. Nah, I'm not hearing it. Leave. I just love that.
Yeah, put him in, man. Top 5, man.
I will put Mike in the top 5. Martin Atkinson.
Yeah, there.
Also top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5.
That's an easy one, I would say.
I think actually, when statistically, Martin Atkinson has been good for Liverpool and Arsenal. Just putting out there.
Hey, let's not get into that one. People will be telling us, "Hey, but you're telling me about Fergie Time." But you want
Martin Atkinson.
I'm John Moss. Boy,
relegation zone, bro.
Yeah, boy. He's big shit. He's something else, man. Like, and for some of these refs, I think their time is coming to an end.
Yeah,
I agree
for sure.
Pension soon land.
Trust me. Andre Marriner, I know.
Yeah,
this
man.
one.
I know people are 100% people are divided about him, but I like him, man.
I'll put him in the middle of the two.
The thing is, he's refed against Liverpool a lot of times. Trust me, a lot of times. But usually with his decisions, man, I think it's fair. I don't have hard feelings with it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like I say, he obviously had the Gibbs Oxlade one, which he didn't control the situation, but I think he's actually grown as a referee from that. Like, if I see Andre Marriner as referee in the Chelsea match, I'm not abjectly sitting there being like, "Oh, we're going to be in for a tough time today." I don't think he's the most authoritative. I don't think he's definitely not the best, but I think given the current state of Premier League referees, he's probably up there.
He should be.
Is he top 5 though?
I think
we'll put him in the middle for now.
I don't even think we can make a top 5, to be honest, but let's go.
Michael Oliver, top 5.
Yeah,
of course. Number 1 for me.
Yeah.
We'll do a quick order towards the end. Anthony Taylor.
Ooh.
I think a couple of years I would have put him up there. A couple of years ago.
Yeah, he's regressed a bit.
Yeah.
I think he's very good, but he's not the best. He's not top class.
I'd say he's better than Marriner.
He sneaks into the top 5, I reckon.
Better than Marriner, yeah?
I'd say
I agree. I agree with Char. I say he sneaks into the top 5. Maybe bottom of the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah.
Andy, he's not here for him.
No. I don't mind him. I don't mind Anthony Taylor.
Craig Pawson.
Hate him. He's dry guy.
That guy, he looks like he belongs in Love Island or something, man.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a ref in it.
Well, yeah.
Relegation zone.
Relegation.
Hey, Lee Mason.
Yeah, bottom 10 even,
man. Chris Kavanagh.
Who's
I think for me, he's a nothing ref.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, don't do this. Chris Kavanagh is decent. He's
good
decent.
Ref.
He doesn't have the personality yet. But I think he will grow. Give him more years, he'll be top done.
I guess that's probably then for me then, in case of when I'm saying he's the nothing ref, that's almost a good thing. Like,
okay.
My first instinct was like, I don't really have an opinion, but then you could change that. If I don't care about
he's very quiet.
Yeah, quiet done, but he makes the right calls.
Yeah.
He handles situations well as well.
He's not sent off anyone in the league this year. Been no red. He's not had any reds in the league this year. So take that.
There we go. Controller.
It's coming together. So I put him in the middle for now. Kevin Friend, do we put him in the middle as well?
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad referee, but I don't think he's amazing.
He's not the best,
Yeah, so we'll put him in the middle.
Yeah.
Right, so our list is taking shape. We're going to go from 1 to 10 now. So at number 1, we're going to say Michael Oliver.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Number 2, Mike Dean.
I'd say Atkinson over Dean.
Atkinson over Dean.
Yeah. Martin Atkinson.
Thing for me with Dean is that he's maybe too trigger happy when it comes to reds. Like
He has the record for the most reds anyway. So he's definitely
too formative. Yeah, I'd put him 3.
Martin, so Atkinson for sure.
Yeah, I like
Martin Atkinson 2, and then Mike Dean 3. Do you think Anthony Taylor's is high? No.
Nah.
Marriner top 3 or not?
What about Graham Scott?
The only thing for Graham Scott, like he's like, I'm just looking at it now. He's done 10 games this season, whereas you think like Atkinson's done 23, Oliver 22, Taylor 20. Like just right now, there's obviously got to be a reason that he is so far down. That he's only managed half of the available games.
Yeah, I should also mention I did leave out some. So as you rightly said there, Graham Scott was one of them. I think Roger East doesn't referee anymore, but he was about, and Stuart Atwell.
And Stuart Atwell, David Coop,
David Coop is one of the new ones as well. Actually, he's coming.
Yeah. Shout out to the goats, man. Graham Pohl, Phil Dowd,
Graham Pohl,
Webb.
You know what I'm saying?
Howard Webb.
The goats.
So we'll go back to the list. So we'll put Mike Dean third.
Yep.
Anthony Taylor fourth. So we've now got in the middle to take number 5. We have Marriner, Kavanagh, or Kevin Friend.
Give it to Kavanagh, I'll say.
Kavanagh or Marriner, man.
Yeah.
All right. So Chris Kavanagh at 5, and then we have Andre Marriner at 6, Kevin Friend at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
Friend.
is that back?
I don't know about
the
that,
battle of
the bikes.
Big shit. We probably got some of the bikes.
Jonathan Moss at 9 or 10.
Yeah, and Lee Mason at the bottom, and then Moss. Yeah, but
Craig Pawson will take 8th happily. Lee Mason and Craig. I don't know who's. John Moss is 10 for me, but unless you might think it's Lee Mason.
It can be both ways.
It can be both ways, man.
Potato, man.
All right, we'll say inclusive. So so that we'll post that on the socials for you guys for our top 10. And obviously, we've left some guys out. If you feel someone should have been included, please do let us know. But whilst on the topic of socials, we want to just mention one of the GOATs of the Premier League has come out and said he's gonna stand down social media. That is Thierry Henry. He feels, and I think we can all agree on here, the guys are not doing enough to stop all the discrimination and racial hate and abusive messages on social media, that he's actually had to, formally come off. And I think if more people do this, then, it's a shame that they have to do this, but it may actually make a deal and people may actually do something about it, because social media is obviously one of the biggest drivers of communication and life right now. And without the big stars on there, it's like, oh, what's happening? And I think, Andy, you've mentioned before in the past how the likes of Ronaldo, probably the most followed guy on Instagram, he doesn't, state some of these world issues that are happening. So we want to shout out to Thierry Henry for that big decision he's made. Right decision. We hope, this could be, again, it's a shame he's had to go down this route, but actually something be done about what's going on.
I love the point that he made, that social media companies, they move mad when it comes to copyright and things like that. Yeah. But when it comes to racism, they're very reactive. I love that.
Racism doesn't make them money, that's why. So that's why it is.
Yeah, so, we'll leave it on there. But as always, guys, please do keep following us on the socials. No shots today because we're taking a break. We'll be back for our next episode when the Premier League will be back in business. We've got some feisty games coming up. The Liverpool boys are going head on head with the Arsenal boys.
Woo!
We hope you've enjoyed this special. Please let us know if any other refereeing, stuff that we may have missed. We do like to educate ourselves and educate you guys as well. And as always, thanks for giving us love. We'll see you soon, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
Looks like they're going to VAR. They're checking.